Wizards podcast. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver and Dialante Daniels. We got a lot to talk about. Bradley Beal had a press conference and he was asked if he is leaning towards resigning, and he said it's fair. I think there's about $246 million, 246 million reasons of why he said it's fair. We're going to get into that. We're going to break down some of the quotes that we thought were important from his press conference. We're going to give you guys an injury update on Kristaps Porzingis, an injury update on Denny Avdia, and also we'll do a quick preview of the Atlanta Hawks game. The Atlanta Hawks are playing tonight. We're just going to talk about the implications of the Wizards playing / playoff push, what tomorrow night's game means for the Wizards. So let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. All right, D. So we'll start out with the main biggest quote here. Once again, I think this was Neil again, who was on the show a couple of months ago. He asked Bradley Beal, are you leaning towards signing the extension with the Washington Wizards? Bradley Beal replied, it's fair. What was your take on his response? Obviously, it's not a surprise. We already knew, but what was your take on Bradley Beal's reaction to that question?
Like you said, it wasn't a surprise. I was telling friends who was like, oh, Bradley Beal, blah, blah, blah. I always had the thought that he wasn't going to leave, even with all the quotes that he said about, this is big and, he wants to make sure it's the right fit. That's a lot of money to pass up on, and Brad has consistently said that he likes being the main guy and, the front office coming to him to speak about the moves, etc., and having the opportunity to win something for the team that had originally drafted him. So it's not a surprise. It's really not a surprise, especially if you listen to what Brad has said in the past, etc., and just look at the amount of money he can make. I'm telling you, it's really hard to pass up $240+ million. You could talk about, I guess he doesn't want to win ever. Other NBA fans will probably say that, but at the end of the day, you got to respect the guy for wanting to stay loyal, similar to Dame Lillard. Not everybody is going to go join the super team.
Yeah, so, we know he wanted to make this deal, take the deal, and Tommy Shepard and Ted Leonsis, they really want to keep him here. They really want him to be the face of the franchise. Is it the Wizards' best decision to make? I mean, it's kind of tough, after the Clippers game. I think we both were just done with the team. We just wanted to blow it up because that debacle and the whole 10-3 start, and then they get to 500, and Bradley Beal's not playing well. He's not shooting the ball well. He's shooting like career lows and 3-point percentage. He's turning the ball over in the clutch, and it's like we're just done with the roster as a whole. Nothing against him, just the whole team. I think they needed to blow it up at that time. But yeah, they kind of have no choice at this point. He's an all-star caliber player. They really have no choice. They kind of missed their opportunity to really trade him. If they wanted to trade him, it was kind of their best time was really either 2 years ago or once Russ asked out in the summertime last year. That was probably like the best time to just really blow it up. But they waited so long where Bradley Beal didn't play well. And, you could have traded him to the Sixers for Ben Simmons, but that was like the only realistic trade that was going on at the deadline. So, it looks like, Ted wants him here. Tommy Shepard wants him here. He's going to be the number one guy on the team. They brought him Porzingis. They got Kuz. Now they're calling it a big three. So, we'll see how that goes next year. But, they just kind of have no choice. They can't really let him walk because that would be terrible if you let him walk and for nothing. You basically wasted your time, and that would be the worst case scenario because you don't get any value back from him for him. So, what's your thoughts again if you think this is the best move from the Wizards' perspective?
For what the Wizards want to do and what they've always been known to do, I mean, it was pretty much the only answer. It was the only thing that they were going to do. Like I always said, if Brad wanted to come back, they were going to assign him to however much money it took. No matter how the fans felt about it, etc. You look at Nikola Jokic and his 5-year, I think 241 million supermax extension that he may be signing with the Nuggets. And then you look at Bradley Beal, it's like, dang, one guy's an MVP, a former MVP, and could be an MVP again after this season. Then you look at Bradley Beal, who's, all NBA, started in the All-Star game once, but they're making the same amount of money pretty much, with Brad making a little bit more. So from the fans' perspective, I understand the caution, and we both have been angry before and said, blow it up. I still wouldn't be mad at that, but I know the Wizards aren't doing that, so they didn't really have a choice here. It was Brad or bust.
Yeah, we know they're not, and they're going to give him $250 million. I mean, he's going to be in the same, money salary. His salary is going to be in the same as like the highest paid player right now for this season is Steph Curry at $45 million, and it's James Harden for 44. So he's up there with those guys. Of course, John Wall's getting paid 44, Russell's getting paid 44 million, KD's getting paid 42. But like you said, I mean, the salary cap's going to go up, and like you said, he's going to be getting paid more than some MVP candidates, guys that are winning MVPs, and we're giving Bradley Beal 50-something million a year when at best he's the number 2 option on a championship team or number 3 option on a championship team. So it doesn't really but it's nothing we can really do about it. We know what Ted wants to do. We know what Tommy Shepard wants to do. So they can't let him walk. They already missed the opportunity to trade him. They could do a sign and trade, but I don't see that happen. I think the way Brad was talking to, we're going to get into some more quotes about that, about, the fit with Porzingis, what he thought about the trade deadline. And Brad dropped some nuggets too. They've been, he's basically like the general manager of the team too. We're going to get into that a little bit too. Some of the quotes definitely showed that, like he's like the GM, LeBron GM type player right now, the way that Tommy and Ted are treating him right now. So we're going to get into that. But before we do get into that, this episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Football might be over for this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the number 1 spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. It's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds right to the Olympic coverage and information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Also, thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast. Nightly recaps of every NBA game with analysis from our local experts. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. All right, so I'm going to pull up this quote here where Bradley Beal did talk about the trade deadline. I do want to talk about how he talked about Rui Porzingis, of course. He did drop a nugget about, this is from NBA Kraus on Twitter. He says, Bradley Beal says that Tommy Shepard was looking into trading for Domantas Sabonis, and once that domino fell, he made the decision to go in for Kristaps Porzingis. So was that anything that you think nobody else knew about? I think that's kind of something that we basically knew about. How did you feel about that statement?
That was, like you just said, something that isn't surprising. I thought Sabonis was the number 1 target. You think about Wes Unseld Jr., you think about his offense, and he pretty much made the Jokic, Jamal Murray comparison with KP and Bradley Beal, even though I don't think KP and Jokic's play styles are similar. I thought, and I tweeted out a while ago, the closest that Wes Unseld Jr. was going to get to Nikola Jokic as far as skill set, not as far as being as talented of a player, but as far as skill set, was Domantas Sabonis. As far as, being able to kind of run the offense through him, pass guys open, be able to feed guys and move the ball around and help facilitate, as well as being a good post scorer and rebounder. So I wasn't surprised that they went after Sabonis, but the Kings just had a tremendous package. So they went with that, and the Wizards ended up going with plan B, which was Kristaps Porzingis. And that is to be determined right now how that will turn out. But I'm not surprised about the Sabonis stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we can tell that was somebody that Bradley Beal would really wanted. There was reports coming out of some Washington Wizards beat reporters saying that Bradley Beal was really, really vouching for Sabonis, and that was the rumor going on for weeks before the trade deadline. So also, Bradley Beal, the quote on Chris Porzingis, this is from Chase Hughes. He says, "Just imagine him and Gaff out there. That's going to be sick." Then you got Kuz at 6'9", 6'10". We've got great size. We've never had that before. We've never had that. So what do you think about that? And what kind of lineup would you see with those three in there?
I think that'll be interesting, man. I think with Gafford's athleticism and him getting down there and blocking shots and Porzingis being a force down there as well, I think as far as rim protection, that'll be some of the best rim protection the Wizards are going to have since I don't know when. I mean, Markieff and Gortat wasn't the most, fearsome presence down there.
Definitely.
So, having guys with Kuz and Porzingis and Daniel Gafford, that's a lot right there. That'll deter some guys, just make them be a little more afraid of getting in that paint. And we may see less 55%, 50% shooting games from the field. And the points in the paint may drop as well. I'm interested in seeing that. This also kind of hints at KP being the 4 more than the 5, and Gafford starting at the 5 potentially next season. So Kuz, Porzingis, and Gafford being that front court, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, and Brad said he compared it to the Cavaliers with Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Lauri Markkanen. So it's positionless basketball. It's not just one point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. It's just not how the game is. Everybody, all the bigs, there's 6'10", 6'11" guys that are able to shoot threes, put the ball on the floor, and dribble now. So guys are more skilled and more talented and able to space the floor. So, if him and Gaff can play together, Gaff could be a good rim protector. Now, the only concern is, Porzingis stepping out there and guarding fours. He should have the mismatch on those fours, on those power fours, you would think. We've seen some Dallas fans or, we had Nick come on and he said that, Kristaps didn't take advantage of those mismatches and he wasn't able to guard the fours. So that's the concern. And he was also saying that Kristaps, that Zingis is better at the 5. And I could see why that makes sense. He matches up better. He's not going to have to step out there and guard guys who are quicker than him. But yeah, I think we should definitely experiment and try it out. Try to get our best, guys on the floor that have the longest wingspans, him, Kuz, and Gafford being 6'10", and then Brad would be at the 2, and then, whoever we have the point guard position would be out there. So that would be a tall lineup, very interesting guys that can really space the floor. So I'm intrigued by that too, just to experiment. Also, another quote that was interesting. And then one thing about the contract too, of course, he has that extension that's on the table of 4 years, $181 million. Just for people who don't know, of course, he's going to decline that. He's going to decline the option. He's going to take the 5-year, $246 million. That's just to update people who are not fully up to date about the contract. Bradley Beal, so another GM nugget here. He talked about Dinwiddie. He said, I 100% vouch for him to be here. Bill talking about Spencer Dinwiddie at the point guard position. He understands it's a need for the team and said there are a few guys they are considering. So once again, that's saying Bradley Beal is going to be the GM probably once again and making the decision on who they're going to get at the point guard. Do you feel comfortable with Bradley Beal having a say so and making a decision on who they get again? Do you trust him this time?
Man, I don't like really personally where guys just start doing more than they need to be doing. Me personally, like, I mean, to make a football analogy, I mean, you have a coach start to have GM powers and all this and personnel decisions, and let the coach be the coach, let the player be the player, let the GM be the GM. Input is cool, but when you talking about these, I mean, it's all because they want Brad to be happy. They're doing this to keep him on the team and to re-sign him. But I don't know, man. You look at that as well. You look at other players and you see Brad has all this power, and Brad isn't that level of a star player in the league. So it's like, I don't know, man. Maybe I could see chemistry issues possibly with Brad having that much power within the organization, and maybe guys feel like he's not that great to be having all that power. And I feel like it's similar to that with some of the fans as well. It's like, oh, why does he get all this say? And the Wizards haven't done anything, and they haven't done anything since, they traded John, and he's been the main guy. I don't know, man. It's that Dinwiddie thing scared me. So if that was him, I don't know if I could trust you making decisions.
Right. Yeah. He definitely has kind of that's definitely a ding to his GM report card for sure, because he really did want Dinwiddie. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of sold on Dinwiddie too. I didn't think he was gonna play as bad as he did. I mean, nobody expected that. That was just like probably the biggest surprise of the year for him to be a shell of himself like that. And nobody to like him. But yeah, it does concern me. It does concern me. They're giving him so much power, and like you said, he's an all-star, but he's really like top 15 at best. He's a number 2 option, not a number 1 guy. He's just not in that same echelon or have that same criteria as a Jokic and B, LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant. We can name like 10 guys, right now that are number. Nicole, I already said Jokic, right? Yeah. Kawhi Leonard, we can just list off a name of guys, and he's the one making the decision. Now, I do get it. If you're going to build around him, then sure, I guess you might as well give him the keys. You might as well be on the same page. You don't want to be like an Aaron Rodgers situation to bring up football again, where they drafted a quarterback in Jordan Love, and Aaron Rodgers wants a wide receiver, so it doesn't make sense to get a quarterback when Aaron Rodgers needs another wide receiver. So I get it from that standpoint, but once again, Aaron Rodgers is on a different level in football than what Bradley Beal is. In basketball, Aaron Rodgers actually won an MVP. So you want to listen to Aaron Rodgers more, of course. But I get it in that sense. You want to have Bradley Beal on the same page. And they didn't pick the coach that Bradley Beal wanted, or from reports, Bradley Beal had no say in the coaching search. So that was interesting too. But, him picking Spencer Dinwiddie and seeing how it worked out, yeah, it is concerning. It is concerning because he might pick somebody again that is not a fit. And if it happens again, then yeah, it's got to be time to move on, because this is another decision that he's making here. So, but yeah, it definitely showed that it didn't work out. Kristaps Porzingis, of course, he okayed that move too. But yeah, you just saw the chemistry issues there. But another quote: Bradley Beal said Tommy Shepard gave him a master plan of what could happen on deadline day, but did not know until he came out of surgery. So, I mean, he probably knew. I mean, that's what Bradley Beal says. So I'm not going to speculate too much on what was said, but it worked out. It worked out. And then last quote about Wes Unseld Jr., he said, Bradley Beal and Wes Unseld Jr. having to set the rotation when the Wizards were fully healthy before the trade deadline. That's a tough job to do, a tough environment to deal with. So he was vouching for Wes Unseld Jr. for the most part. But yeah, I think that's all the quotes I got. Was there any other quotes that you thought stood out?
I did like when he spoke about Rui Hachimura and pretty much said what we've been saying about he needs to shoot it more when speaking on his improved 3-point shooting. We spoke about it last episode. I said he's putting up about 5 2-point attempts a game and about 2 3-pointers a game. So I want him to take more shots, especially if he's shooting the 3-ball well, put more of them up, put more than 2 or 3 a game up, get some games where you're putting up 5 shots. They don't all got to be wide open if you're feeling it. So I definitely, Brad is agreeing with that sentiment right there. And he's seeing what a lot of us are seeing, and he needs to shoot that thing more.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, Rui does need to shoot the ball more. He needs to be more aggressive. Now, Kristaps coming back could affect his playing time. And there was another quote that stood out to me that Bradley Beal talked about the season that he had. He just acknowledged that he didn't have a good season. But yeah, other than that, yeah, Rui needs to be more aggressive. They've been asking him to be aggressive. But yeah, those are all the quotes that stood out to me. But we're gonna get into this Hawks game tomorrow night. The Wizards play. They had a small break, but before we do get into that, got a quick word from D.
This is the time of year that I've pretty much given up on all of my New Year's resolutions, but not this year. I'm sticking to my resolution to eat right thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. Have you tried the Puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie, so good. These are all going to be your new favorite. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, puffs included. 100% real chocolate. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They are better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Go to built.com and scroll down to the macros chart. You'll be blown away. High protein, low calorie, high fiber, low carb. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Mint brownie, coconut, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate, cookies, and cream. They are all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. If they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It will be delicious, and it will be good for you. At Built Bar, they are all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every time. The offer is to go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com.
Yeah, but it's so funny that Brad's response to leaning towards coming back was saying that's fair, because like that's just the calmest way to say, hey, I'm gonna get $246 million next summer.
Yeah, Brad is an interesting guy, you know, because you had the Chris Haynes interview, and then it was like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to end up making a mistake, and this is big, and then you go from that to the, pretty much sound about right. That sound good. That sound good. So, I mean, it's not surprising, like we both said. This is something we expected to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been surprised if he walked and left. I mean, that would have been a really bad look for the Wizards, like really bad.
Yeah, and it's still technically not set in stone yet. He still could pull 180 and change. But the way he talked on the press conference just sounded like talking about Porzingis and Gaff and Kuz and the lineup. They've already talked about him talking about which point guards are going to pick, all that stuff. So, it's probably 110% he's going to come back. But, let's get – so Denny, he has a right quad contusion, participated in practice today, so he should be good to go versus the Hawks tomorrow. Also, Porzingis finally played a little bit in 5-on-5, but he's not going to be playing tomorrow. So the Porzingis waiting game, we don't know what kind of – we'll see what kind of suit he has on, what kind of fit he has on, what kind of street clothes he has on tomorrow night against Atlanta. But what are your keys to victory against the Hawks? And the Hawks are playing right now. Let me look at the score real quick. They're beating the Bulls, which is not good for us at all to make a play-in. But what's your keys to victory to beat the Hawks tomorrow night?
Guard Trae Young. I mean, he has currently against the Bulls, he has 21 points and 10 assists with 3 rebounds. He's 3 for 4 from the 3-point line, 5 for 11 from the field. That's the main goal right there. You got to be able to slow him down, because if he gets going, it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough time for the Wizards. And Trae Young has killed the Wizards before in the past. So they got to make sure that they lock him up, or do their best to lock him up. You got to make sure you defend that 3-point line too. Kevin Huerter, former Terp, I mean, he'll be out there pulling those 3-pointers from deep too if you let him. Gallinari as well. He's a guy who can shoot the ball. You got to make sure you defend that 3-point line. So I want to key in on that. Key in on Trae Young, mainly. Key in on that 3-point line. And make sure you're tough on those boards, man. You got Clint Capella down there. He has 10 rebounds right now against the Bulls. You got to make sure you're on those boards, man, and you're out there snagging them. So I'm looking at Kuz, Denny. I'm going to throw Rui in there too, man. I want to see more than 1 rebound from him. So grabbing those boards, defending that 3-point line, and making sure you do your best to try to contain Trae Young.
Definitely, yeah. Can't go in there any screens. They might have to pick him right up at half court, because he will pull it from the logo. He's done it before against the Wizards. He's had 40-point games against the Wizards before. He had 41 the last game. They've just been an inconsistent team. They don't really defend well, the Atlanta Hawks. But like you said, they got shooters all around. Gallo can shoot. DeAndre Hunter can shoot. Kevin Huerter can shoot as well. Lou Williams off the bench. Bogdanovich can shoot. DeLon Wright is a known Wizards killer as well. So it's going to be a tough matchup. I mean, it's a home game, but you got to be able to defend without fouling. Trae Young gets to the free throw line a lot. So this is a tough matchup for them, and we're gonna, like you said too, we're gonna need our bigs to contribute. We're gonna need a big game from TB. We're gonna need a big game from Gaff. They're gonna have to defend without fouling as well, protect the paint, protect the rim. Got to talk on defense too. There's sometimes where we do get lost in the sauce. Denny getting lost on Lauri Markkinen, letting him have a wide open three. Rui sometimes off ball can get lost in the sauce too. But yeah, once again, rebounding, and we've been sloppy too. We've been sloppy with the basketball. But I think it's gonna be a close game. Just those fourth quarters, man, when Kyle Kuzma's putting up 30 points, and then they start doubling him towards the end. It's like, hey, who else is gonna step up? Is it gonna be Ish? Is it gonna be Neto taking a bunch of shots at the end? Like who's gonna step up? Somebody else other than those guys are gonna have to help out in that fourth quarter. KCP, somebody is gonna have to help out. So those are my keys. But looking at the standings, I guess we'll do a prediction for the weekend as well, because Wizards play on Sunday as well. What's your prediction for the Hawks game and the Pacers game on Sunday night at 6?
I think they lose to the Hawks. I think they beat the Pacers. I think they can potentially go 2-0. They could potentially go 0-2 or 1-1. I never know with the Wizards. They're so up and down, and because they're up and down, I say lose to Atlanta, win against the Pacers.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. Pacers, they're kind of tanking, kind of not. Like they'll mess around and beat and win games. They won a couple games. They beat us last week when we really could have won that game. But yeah, I'm with you. I think we lose to the Hawks Friday night, and then we beat the Pacers by like 5. And I think Porzingis, I'm not gonna guess when he comes back, but I would think Porzingis would be back by the Lakers game, which is on Friday at 10:30. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see, because he hasn't played in 2 months now, and Jason Kidd did say that if it was the playoffs, Porzingis could have played as a bone bruise. So they're just really slowly taking him back, bringing him back.
Yeah. I would say I don't know if they bring him back. Because they got that 4-game road West Coast trip. So, do you think, what game did you say you think that we see him back?
I was at a Lakers Friday night.
Lakers. Yeah. So if he travels with the team, I definitely think we see him in some game during that West Coast trip if he travels. So yeah, Lakers sound good on NBA TV. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that makes sense for ratings. Definitely, yeah. We want to thank you guys for watching, and make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell. And we're almost at 2,000 subscribers as well. Thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA. Locked On experts covering the biggest stories around the NBA every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.